Hello, hello. Thank you for being here. So today we're going to talk about leak, ladder, and the illusion of trust. So that's going to be an interesting topic. My name is Peggy van der Plash. Thank you for being here. So if you live in Toronto like me, you've been having a lot of rain, and it's been pretty brutal. And last week, my better half and I were awakened to water dropping from our ceiling. So that was quite an interesting night we got, as you can imagine. So buckets, towels, and trying to figure out how to minimize the damage in the middle of the night. It was quite a surprise considering that our roof has been done and redone over the last 5 years, which changed all the skylights, the windows, the roof has been elevated in our bathroom. It has been changed. So we had a lot of people coming on our roof over the years, and everything should be brand new. So, you never really expect a leak, but we were definitely not expecting anything coming from our roof. So what happened in the morning is the usual scrambling, calling the insurance, calling the roofer, and trying to figure out what's happening. In the meantime, rain keeps, pouring in Toronto. So if you want to see an image of the Niagara Falls in my bedroom, go on my Instagram, PeggyVDP, and you would have a nice view of that. Anyway. So what happened the day after is that a woofer came, and which was, nice of him to come. There were a lot of leaks, as you can imagine, happening in the Toronto area. At the same time, our roof is also under guarantee, and as I said, it was brand new, so I was also kind of expecting him to come quite quickly. And I was not phased. It was not the first time I had a leak in that house. I assume he was not phased either, not his first leak, so it was a bit, a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. And I was from the perspective that we will deal with that. So of course I had to, cancel my meetings and all that stuff to accommodate, but no big deal. So anyway, my guy show up, and that's when the shit show started. So first thing, guy asked me for a ladder to go on the roof. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't have a ladder. I'm not in the habit of climbing onto my roof. Like if I want to enjoy a nice view, I go to a rooftop patio. That's why they exist. So now it's like, okay, let's try to locate a ladder, but a certain type of ladder. It needs to be of a specific height. And I am there, okay, thinking who can I call who is susceptible to be there in the middle of the morning and with a ladder. So calling a friend who's also our designer on the street. She picks up the phone. Luckily, she is in New York, but she still kindly pick up the phone. And she put me in touch with her husband. So take the number, call the husband. Anyway, and thankfully he's at their home and he thinks he has the right ladder. So now climb on the truck, in the truck of a roofer, a truck that was definitely not expecting any passengers, let's put it that way, still pouring rain. We arrive at my friend who lives at the end of the street. After some back and forth with her husband, we leave with the lighter ladder with fewer options, which means that he doesn't wash the dishes because he had multiple ladders with multiple options. Anyway, back to my house. So obviously, because nothing is ever simple, you have a Uber that is parked just on the edge of my driveway. So thankfully, when the driver saw that I looked partially disheveled and clearly on the verge of a nervous breakdown, he promptly vacated the spot, which didn't stop my roofer to nonetheless block my neighbor's driveway, because why not? While you're there, let's do it. So finally, we make it to the top level, still pissing rain. He gets on the roof. I'm lighting a candle, expecting to see him fall through one of my skylights any second. Eventually, he comes back. Now, diagnosis. Uncertain. Could be a pipe, of course. It started leaking during torrential rain, must be a pipe. Oh, and wait, there is actually no pipe in that room. So, no. Could be the neighbor's skylight. And then the roofer shows me pictures of how badly the neighbor's skylight was installed. But based on the location, even that doesn't really make any sense in terms of how the water could have traveled to my bedroom. Could be one of our fans. Maybe we're getting warmer, but based on the photos, there is no water accumulation close to the fan. It's actually in a different spot. So seem like it's not there, you know. And then could be our fireplace exhaust. And then, ta-da, he showed me a picture of the exhaust that is not only rusty, but totally corroded with a massive hole in it. So anyway, I will spare you the many back and forth related to that leak, but as always, you know, every experience is an opportunity for reflection. So the first thing for me is like, who on freaking earth shows up to inspect a roof without a suitable ladder? I mean, that for me is just like the first, Second, the roofer and his team had been on this roof many times over the past 5 years, and they never thought to mention that the fireplace exhaust was damaged. That didn't seem like a valuable information to share with the people who are totally redoing their skylights and their roof, but actually there is one piece that is absolutely damaged and need to be replaced? Visibly not. Third, you know, I assume roof leaks are pretty standard for a roofer. So how did it become the game of spot the 7 differences? I mean, I think there are obvious ways to test where a leak is coming from. You put some dye of different colors at different, spaces and location, and you see what's coming in the bedroom, and maybe it gives you an idea. I don't know. I didn't chat GPT it, but I'm pretty sure there is a structured decision tree to track a leak, and probably 10 ways to do it efficiently, which brings me to my 4th point and the most important point I want to discuss. Every possible reason, even the most random, was thrown out except the most obvious. The brand new, still under warranty roof is leaking. And that is the one thing we didn't discuss at all. It's obviously everything but the fact that it's the roof. And so what did I learn from that experience? So first, that fiduciary duty should and have to be extended to any relationship that is based on asymmetric information and asymmetric expertise. So what is fiduciary duty exactly? So that's a Google definition. So a fiduciary duty is a legal and ethical obligation of a person, the fiduciary, to act in the best interest of another person of entity, the beneficiary. So it involves a relationship of trust and confidence, where the fiduciary is entrusted with powers and responsibilities for the benefit of the beneficiary. So fiduciary duties are usually implied in certain relationships, so a lawyer and a client, a director and a corporation, you know, like this type of relationship. And the most common fiduciary relationships involves legal or financial professionals. Maybe you're thinking about your investment advisor, who agree to act on behalf of their clients, obviously, on their best interest. I'm saying obviously, but that's what it implied. So in the context of this roofer, generally, actually, a roofer does not have a fiduciary to their client. So fiduciary duties are a high standard of care that is requiring a party to act in the best interest of another. So basically expecting a party to act in the best interest of another is not a basic requirement in most commercial relationships, excluding, more or less law and finance. So basically, every time you're engaging with someone, and even if they have more expertise than you and more information than you in the specific area you're hiring them for, they are not required to act in your best interest. I find it quite interesting. And again, excluding finance and law, but if I look at my husband, myself, a lot of people I know, like we're better equipped to pressure test or lawyer or financial advisor than, my roofer or my car mechanic. So why the double standard? Because I doubt that the average person, I'm not sure who, if you're listening or watching, I'm not sure what's your experience, but I doubt that the average person knows more about construction or mechanics than they do about finance and law. And shouldn't we assume that we are all vulnerable when it comes to specialist knowledge? So I would say, like, in this super, super straightforward context, of that click. So what would have been the fiduciary duty? Well, first you come up with the ladder to climb on the roof. Seems obvious, but second, being told years ago that our exhaust was damaged. I mean, that seems obvious. Third, taking responsibility that maybe the brand new roof that he installed might be the source of the leak, but he is not obligated to any of that. His only obligation was to install the roof, properly or not, seems to be up to his discretion. Maybe the fact that I always offer a coffee helps, maybe not. I'm not even sure anymore. So again, in an ideal world, we wouldn't need fiduciary protections. We'd all be ethical and we will all be, doing the right thing. But we don't live in that world, like in the world we're living in, integrity is boring, it's nitpicky, and it's very business unfriendly. So this is why trust matters even more. And micro social recommendations matter even more. Because can you trust a Kardashian to point you to the best product for you? Probably not. They're going to go to where there is the most reward for them. But can you believe that a friend will give the best recommendation for you? Yeah, probably. And that's why you see this rise of micro social networks, niche communities, micro influencers. And that rise is really one of the most significant trends that are shaping the digital and social landscape today, because we can only hope that the other side of a commercial relationship will act in our best interest. And I mean, at a time when everything seems to be monetized and monetizable. So having trustworthy people around us is key. And of course, that brings its own challenge, because you can end up in a situation where you have loyalty, nepotism, incompetence, where it's like, wow, yes, that person sucks, but I trust them. But that is a different topic. So, I mean, what did we learn from that leak experience? So, in any relationship, keep an eye on who has a conflict of interest, who has integrity, and never underestimate the power of a second unbiased opinion. So thank you so much for listening. I hope that would make you think about some of your relationship, not take for granted the fact that the other side of the fence might actually do what is in your best interest, because they don't have to. And I think very often they don't do what is in your best interest. So thank you so much for watching. Please comment if you have any thoughts or any questions on that. If you want to see more videos like that, you can also subscribe to my channel, and you can learn more about me on my website, peggyvandeplage.com. Thank you for being there. Bye.